Hello and a very warm welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now this is a video I thought I would never have to make, but I am now, given the Renters Reform Bill, of the opinion that the balance has firmly tipped against buying property in the UK. I will also in this video briefly give you 9 other reasons why you should stay out of the UK real estate market. But let's firstly talk about the Renters Reform Bill. Now, this essentially turns the UK from being pro-landlord to pro-tenant, and it's an absolute revolution. Basically, it's the end of fixed contracts between the landlord and the tenant, and they will be on a rolling monthly basis, with the tenant only needing to give 2 months' notice if they want to leave the landlord's property. But as a landlord, the only 2 instances in which you can evict a tenant are on the grounds of antisocial behaviour and rent arrears. Now, otherwise, you can only get your property back if you intend to sell it or live in it, or one of your relatives live in it. Now, with the current situation of no-fault eviction, it's far easier to remove a tenant for antisocial behaviour or rent arrears. It avoids court cases which can take months or years and at great cost as well. So you can see why this Renters Reform Bill is scaring a lot of people from buying to let in the UK. It's not yet law, but it's likely to come into place in the not too distant future. Now, as far as rent increases are concerned, you will only be able to do this once a year as a landlord. You will also have to give 2 months' notice, and if the tenant disagrees, they can actually go to a tribunal and appeal the increase. Tenants will actually also be allowed to keep pets in your property, and there will be a new landlord database, which will mean all landlords will have to sign up to this before being able to market their property for rent. There will also be a new ombudsman set up, which landlords will have to pay for. Now, of course, although there may be 1 or 2 reforms to this bill, you can see the direction where the UK is going. It's going into a much more pro-tenant way. Now, let's give you 9 other reasons for avoiding investing in the UK real estate market. So number 2 would be low GDP growth. Brexit Britain is suffering from really low growth, and the future prospects do not look good. In fact, the UK is the only G7 economy yet to recover to pre-pandemic levels. Number 3, high inflation. The UK is suffering very high inflation, currently at 8.7%, and it's far higher than the EU average at 6.1%. And this is really not a good look, especially when you consider many countries in the European Union have been really dependent on Russian gas, and the UK much less so. So I would have expected inflation in the UK to have been lower than the EU average. And this leads me neatly onto point number 4, further interest rate rises. Now, with high inflation, it is expected that the Bank of England will raise interest rates over the coming months by another percentage point. So this will likely depress the property market even further. And let's not forget, in the UK, many people are mortgaged to the hill. So this is a country, in the UK, people tend to buy with very high mortgages. It's not like other countries. One country I can think of, Italy, where you've got more cash buyers. People are very sensitive to interest rate rises in the UK. So this is not looking good for the property market. Number 5, prices in the UK are still historically high. So even given the recent price drops, especially taking into account inflation, prices are still very high when compared to people's incomes in the UK. Number 6, high taxes. Taxes in Britain are high. They are at the highest level in living memory. Corporation tax has gone up to 25%, making Britain a less attractive place for companies to do business. Also, you've got to consider capital gains capital gains tax allowance has fallen from 12,300 annually to £6,000 annually, and it will drop to £3,000 next tax year. So this means when you sell your property, you're going to pay more capital gains tax. Number 7, Britain is suffering from a very huge skill shortage. Now, since leaving the single market, Britain has suffered enormously from labour shortages, whether it be in the IT industry, obviously health, catering, and many other sectors as well. Now, you also need to consider this. Every week, at least 1,000 people who are from the European Union or EEA countries are leaving the UK. And this is a sign that people are starting in Europe to give the UK a wide berth. Now, of course, there is a lot of immigration from other countries, but I think considering there's a lot less immigration from richer countries to the UK, this is a bad sign that the UK is not doing very well at all. And many people from Europe consider Britain no longer a place where they want to come and live and work. Number 8, sick man of Europe. Britain is literally the sick man of Europe. 7 million people in England alone are currently waiting for hospital treatment. Now, this waiting list is actually bigger than the population of Denmark, and this is bound to have a drain on resources going forward. So that does say things are not looking good. Number 9, Bleak Future. Now, with a lack of any notable free trade deals since leaving the European Union, Britain is looking ever more as if it has made a huge mistake leaving the largest free trade area in the world. It finds itself in a position where its neighbours across the water are trading without friction, whereas Britain has put up barriers to entry, making it a far less desirable place for foreign investors. And number 10, things will get worse with a Labour government. Now, a new Labour government will put up taxes even more. They'll make property even more pro-tenant. So that's even less of a reason to buy property in the UK. So look at it this way. If the Conservative Party, which is currently in power, which is supposed to be more on the right side, is putting in these bills which make it less attractive for people to buy property in the UK, you can only think that the Labour Party coming in will make things even less attractive. So that's why I would also stay out of the UK property market. Now, the only saving grace I would say for the UK is that the population is increasing. They had a net migration of over 600,000 in the last year, which is incredible given the number of people who are from the European Union and EEA countries who've actually left Great Britain. They're still having a lot of immigration coming in. So that would suggest that with population growth, there will still be demand for housing going forward. But unfortunately, I think definitely, at least for now, you've got to stay out of this market simply because Britain, and it's really, really strange, has fallen into a situation where it's actually left the European Union and the single market, but it's acting more like many Western European countries like France, where taxes are very high and is very pro-tenant, and Spain as well. So on the one hand, it's losing the benefit of leaving the single market and all the benefits of that. And it's not taking any so-called advantages. It's actually going more towards countries like Spain and France, which is really bizarre. But it does say Britain is losing out on every level as a place where you'd want to put your money in the real estate, or not only in the real estate, for companies to invest in general. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. I'd love to know what you think. Do you think it's over for Britain now as a place to put your money in the real estate market? I think it's over definitely for now anyway. I think for the next few years, I would absolutely avoid Britain. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks ever so much for watching, and I shall see you soon on the next video.